when I visit with teachers and I go around talking about the essential understandings about Montana tribes, that document that was meant to move people beyond the craft and holiday and hero notion of teaching about Indian people to some deeper things, like tribal sovereignty and diversity and cultural ideology. When I go around and talk about these things, I don't think that people have a notion of the historic moment that they're in. I don't think they fully comprehend or understand what this could mean. But I do. And so I realize that all of my actions, and my work and effort is going to make history, either in a really amazing, remarkable way, or it will be a failure. Like in 1975, the Indian Studies law that happened, and there was a backlash, and coursework wasn't ready at institutions, and there was resistance. And so then this wonderful law was then repealed to be a strong suggestion. And so I don't want it to be a failure. I want us to accomplish something and to get something done. Things that become institutionalized so that it's a matter of fact in every school that all of the students are going to learn about the Indian people in the state. That's just good teaching. And that higher education institutions have courses that teach history from a tribal perspective. That there's a very strong tribal voice in every higher education institution in the state. And that there's a partnership and relationships developed between Indian communities. And I hope there's some healing for Indian communities in getting to tell their story, because it's very difficult. And I don't think that we were really ready. We thought we were ready. We've been saying we were ready for, probably since the 50s and 60s, when Indian people really began diligently working and trying to change what was being taught, about who we were in our history. And then we get up to this point where now it's a state law and a mandate, and some money was actually put forward to accomplish it. And now we're at this place, but I don't think, I think we believed we were ready, but I don't think we really were. But I don't know if we could have done everything to get ready. Because I think there's a fear, people are afraid. Things that have been private and intimate, that people protected, there are things that people had to protect. That's why we still have our songs and our language, is that people had to protect them. A lot of things people had to literally go underground with so that they wouldn't be destroyed or taken. And now, and then they were totally devalued. And now all of a sudden there's this value and everybody's wanting to hear it. And now it's like, wait a minute. That's very private. Now you're asking me to share all of these private things that I had to safeguard and protect, and now you want me to just put it out there. So I don't think we were really ready. And so that's kind of painful sometimes for me, because I'm wanting to just, I want to just put it out there. But I think there's a fear of sharing everything, or we can only share so much, or, how much do we need to share for the rest of the world to really understand who we are as Indian people and what our history was? How much do we share of ourselves? How much of that private, intimate knowledge do we give? What's appropriate for in an educational setting? It's very different than in a community setting, when this information is shared and taught. And so we haven't figured all that out. And so there's disagreement with how much to share, or how it should be shared, or what stories, or even who gets to do it. And so I have great empathy for teachers, because I go through that as a tribal member, and my access is much different, and relationship and knowledge with it is much different. But if I was a classroom teacher, you had all these Indian people saying, you have to do this, this is the right thing to do, you need to include this content and all of this. And then when you get to the place of actually doing it, you realize that it becomes very difficult, and you encounter people who are very guarded or who say, well, that's not for you to do or teach. And so I have a lot of empathy for the classroom teacher, because they have to negotiate cultural politics, you know, all of social politics. They have to negotiate all of this stuff. And they're looking for Indian people, you know, that's when the responsibility is ours again. Because we can't hold people accountable to teach something that we're not offered to share with them. You can't have it both ways. If we say that we want this to be done, you know, we have to be a full cooperating partner and say, and we're going to help you do this. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. And so we're slowly getting there, but in that process of getting there and making those decisions, sometimes it's painful because you encounter fear or people that are wanting to keep it exclusive, because there's a little bit of power there. You know, well, I have this and I know this and we know this, but are we going to share it with these people? And so all of those things have to be negotiated and worked out. And I think that that's where we're at. Sometimes I think, okay, we've gotten to this place, and then I'm like, oh, no, I'm stepping back. I'm going ahead, I'm stepping back. But in the process, it gives me great empathy for teachers, because I've also been one that's been telling them, you need to do this and you need to do it in the right way. And then I have to live that too. And it's hard, because I'm just, you know, I'm ready to share all these stories.